Hello and welcome to the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. On today's episode, we're going to take this stock image right here, which I am linking in the description below for you so you can download it and follow along with me. It's a great way of learning. We're going to take this image and turn it into this image right here. We're starting out here in Photoshop, then we're going to go into what I call my creative toolbox, which is Topaz Studio 2. We're going to apply three different painterly type filters to it. The abstraction filter, the smudge filter, and then the impression filter. We're going to mix and match these filters around the image in different ways. I want you to be able to handcraft your images, and my job, I feel, is to show you different techniques and ideas to get your creative, artistic juices flowing. So, hey, follow along with me. Without any further ado, let's get started. We're starting out here in Photoshop. This is step one on this journey here. So I duplicated my background layer. I'm going to come up into a really wonderful Topaz Labs filter, and that's Topaz Adjust AI. Now, I just want to see what I can get here. I'm just trying to add a little bit of more detail, I think, to here, make this image pop a little bit more, and I'm going to see what we can get here. I'm going to start with standard and look at the result we get for standard. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I like the image. It's definitely popping. Here's the before and here's the after. So that's looking really cool. Let's try the HDR style. Because remember, we're going painterly on this one. So look, we got some extra color in here, which is really nice. Okay, it's a little on the blue side, but I'm cool with that because I'll take care of that in Topaz Studio 2. So I think we're off to a pretty nice start. Maybe, let me just see the exposure. Do I want to pull this No, I was going to say, do I want to pull the exposure up a little bit? I'm just going to leave it right where it is. Let me go ahead and click apply, and that'll send us right back into Photoshop. Now we're going to be moving on to step two, but let's look at the original. So here's our original image, and here's what it looks like after Topaz Adjust AI. It's popping. It's going in the right direction. Again, we're thinking painterly on this. I went ahead and duplicated this Topaz Adjust AI layer, and I also renamed it so we know where we're at. And I duplicated it, and now I'm calling this one Topaz Studio 2 Creative Toolbox, because that's what I like to call Topaz Studio 2, my creative toolbox. Because, man, you can just have fun in there. So let's go to Topaz Studio 2. This is going to be fun. And the first thing I want to do in here, remember I told you it was a little on the blue side, so let's go to Add Filter. I love this filter, HSL Color Tuning. I'm just going to click on blue and pull that blue saturation back just a little bit. I'm just trying to get rid of some of the blue, extra blue that the HDR effect gave me using Adjust AI. And I think right there looks pretty good. I'm going to combine three different painterly type filters to this. The first one will be abstraction, then I'm going to add some smudge, and then I'm going to add the impression filter after that, okay? So let's start out with the abstraction filter. We'll just come to add filter, abstraction, and I'm just going to take my simplify size up. Yeah, I'm just, already that's simplifying the image and giving it a nice painterly look. And I like what's happening back on the background here. The building's looking pretty cool. I like that. If you will recall, I'm combining different filter effects to get this painterly image. So now I'm going to add the smudge filter. I'm going to use it to add some whimsical look to this foreground grass, and only the grass in the foreground here, okay? So I'm going to take its strength. Now it's called smudge. So which one I take the strength? I'll take it the whole way up so you can see. See, it gets all smudgy looking. Now I'm only looking at the grass down here. So I'm going to take that strength up to maybe around 50. I'll readjust if I need to. Next, I'm going to take the sharpness. Now, this sharpness is a magical slider here with the smudge. Watch what happens. It brings sharp detail back. You see that? But look at this whimsical look in the grass, and that looks really cool. Now, you can think of the extent slider as a fine-tuning adjustment. See, if I move it to the right, it gets rid of the line look. But if I move it to the left, it lets a little more of that line look show in there. So I'm just going to adjust this extent till I get the whimsical lines that I'm looking for. And maybe right about there. Let me see if I want my sharpness up anymore. Yeah, maybe somewhere right around in there. Now I'm going up and adding a layer mask, because remember, I only want to add it to the foreground grass. So let's come to the layer mask, click these three dots, and let's click invert. And I'm going to get a brush. I'm going to shut my edge aware off. And I'm going to go to radius here, and that's a pretty good size. Softness is at 50, the default. And I'm just going to paint across the foreground grass here. Up onto the building here a little bit, because I want that detail, that grass to show through. But again, I'm just trying to go for that little whimsical look. Oh, I got to paint with white paint. I'll leave that mistake in there. I won't edit it out, because I'm sure you're going to make it too. So learn from my mistakes, guys. I am not perfect. As you all know, if you watch my videos, you'll know I am not perfect. And gosh, I'll be the first to admit that. Okay, see that? Isn't that cool? Adds a little bit of whimsy in there. Now, if you wanted to, you could come up to the smudge layer and take the opacity, and you could ease it back a little bit if you went too far, you know. And I might just ease it back, just, you know, just to say I eased it back. Isn't that cool? So now we have this nice whimsical look here. The building's looking nice. This grass back here is looking nice. And the next thing I want to do is add a little bit of extra detail to this building. Now remember, I used the abstraction filter, remove some detail, but I want to add some detail back just to the building, okay? And that's next. We'll come up and grab another filter, add filter, precision contrast. When I'm doing these kind of painterly images, I really like this filter here, right? The micro especially. So watch what happens when I pull this micro. I'm going to pull it way up. But look at this building. Don't look at anything else. I know it looks horrible everywhere else, but look at the building. Look at the shingles. Look at some of the details. It still has a simplified look, and it looks kind of painterly, but I'm adding a little bit of extra detail pop in it, like something like right there. Let's see what happens if I pull the low up a little bit. Yeah, it's not doing a whole lot. I'm just going to maybe pull it up just a little bit there. And maybe I'll pull up the midtones a little bit in the lighting, because remember, I'm only thinking about that building. So what if I wanted that building just to be a little bit lighter? Okay, maybe, I don't want to go too crazy here. I'm going to say right there. Now let's come up and get a layer mask here. Let's invert it, and you know the deal. We invert it, we get a brush, yes. We take the transparency. I won't make that mistake this time. And I'm going to leave the edge wear on because I wanted to grab the edges of the building here. I'm going to start out by making the radius a little bit smaller, and I'll paint the chimney first. Paint the chimney here. Okay. And now let's paint around the edges. I'm going to leave it small as I paint around the edges. Remind me, okay, that I painted around the edges so I don't do these again. Not that it would hurt, but it would waste time. Okay, let's just paint around the edges. I'm just going to do it this way because I'll be done and I can just stick in the middle then from there. Okay, and you can see the edges I painted. Now let's make our brush bigger. And now we'll just paint in the rest of it here. I love the red overlay because you can really see what you're doing. You know exactly where you're painting. And if I get it on the grass there, that's okay. I think it's going to be okay. You'll find out if it's okay or not. And you'll say, hey, Dave, you said it was okay, but it's not okay. Oh, well, I'll fix it. It's only editing software, guys. It's Topaz Studio 2, the creative toolbox. I love it. Okay. See that? Look at that building popping off. And I love it. Look, I missed the spot. Probably this window over here. Okay. So it's on the grasses there by the building. Do I like that? You know what? I'm going to take the transparency and pull it back a good bit here. It's like a darker gray. And I think I just might remove it from here. So you can move that slide around and make readjustments here, which is really nice. There. I like that better. Yeah, see, I was wrong. I thought I would make that sharper there, but no. I could come and paint this pole here if I wanted to, but I think I'm just going to leave it the way it is. I want our eyes to come to the building. I like this pole, though, because this building's kind of out in Nowheresville with this beautiful mountains in the background and this steamy cloudiness in the background. Is really nice. Next, we're going to add some impression filter. Before I add that impression filter, I think I missed the spot. I'm taking my transparency the whole way up because on the edge of this building, I think I missed this, this roof right here. And I don't want to miss this roof. Yeah, I did miss that roof, and I missed something in here, but this is paint in here. Okay, I'm good. Okay, now for the impression filter. Now, on the impression filter, what I'm thinking is and it's found right here under stylistic. And I'm not doing anything here. I'm just saying that's cool because I'm just looking at the mountains back here. I'm not going to add it to the foreground at all because remember, I'm combining 3 different painterly type effects. I'm going to use the impression filter for the background. The only thing I'm going to do is come down to texture, and you've seen me do this in the past if you watch my videos. I come down and click on original because you can see some of the paint showing through. Which the reason they do that is because depending on the paint size, you'll get some areas of canvas showing through, which makes it a painterly look really realistic. But in my case, I don't want to show any of that, so I'm going to click original and all those little gaps fill in, okay? So now what I'm going to do is come up and just add that painterly effect to the background here. So let's come and click on the layer mask. What I'll do is, let's just leave it on white reveal all, and let's just paint it off of the building. So get a brush, make sure we're painting with black, and let's get our radius here. I'll make it a little bit smaller, and I'll do that same deal where, now I want the edge wear on. I'm going to come up and paint around the edges of things. Well, I'm getting really sloppy there, but that's okay, it looks okay. Okay, see things are coming back. I'm going to do the edges first. And I don't know, I may paint that pole, I'm not sure. I'm doing this rather fast, but, you know, take your time and do it right. Okay, let's come down here. Actually, you know what? I want it off this grass, too. Or do I? I think I do. Let's do the building first, and then I'll take it off the grass if need be. Originally, I didn't have it on the grass, but, hey, you know what? I can change my mind. I'm allowed to do that. Remember, we have an artist license, so who knows? Maybe a mistake for me will be a happy accident. As Bob Ross used to say, we don't make mistakes, we just have happy accidents. You know what? I might let a little bit of the painterly on the grass, and let's try something. Let's pull the transparency up about 50%. I'm just flying by the seat of my pants now because I'm just playing. Oh yeah, nice. Hey, you just never know where you're going to go when you play around, and I highly recommend experimentation because that's how you get some really cool results, when you experiment and you play and you have fun. Just let yourself go free and wild. I like that. Keeps a little bit of painterly over this area right here, completely off the building. I'm going to take the radius down a good bit, and I'm going to paint down this pole right here, like so. You know, we'll take a little bit of the painterly effect off of it. Now I'm going to take my brush transparency the whole way to the right. I'm going to make my radius really small, and I'm going to paint off. Make sure I'm painting with black paint, Dave. See, there's another mistake, and I'm leaving it in for you. I want to let this power line show through, right? Because it's there and it looks cool. Okay, so the power line showing through, and there's another power line coming up through here. Let's let that one in there too. Okay, do I like it? I think I like it. Yeah, I do like it. Let me left click on the canvas here. Here's our before and here's our after. To borrow another saying from Bob Ross, here's your bravery test. If you like what you got, go ahead and click accept because you're going back into Photoshop. And there's no turning back at this point. So I'm going to click accept, and here we are. Let's take a look at our before and after result. Okay, so here's the layer that just came back, the Creative Toolbox layer. Let's shut it off. So we come from here, and now we're here. And I'm really enjoying this so far. I went ahead and duplicated this layer and called it Topaz Adjust AI because I thought, let's see if we can take it back into Adjust AI. Now, I'm just thinking about the building. What if I could maybe pop this building a little bit more? So let's try Topaz Adjust AI and see what we get. So I'm going to go ahead and launch it here, and Topaz Adjust AI. And we'll try standard first, see what we get. Now, I'm only looking at the building, but look at the whole image because you might like something else that's happening there. Okay, I like it on the building. It's a little on the blue side, but we'll fix that in Photoshop, and I'll show you how to do that. Let me give the, let's see, where are we at here? Let me see if I want to give it a little extra exposure. Now, I'm just thinking about the building itself. Yeah, you know, just a tiny little bit of exposure. Maybe like that 0.05. Let's go ahead and accept that. Let's try HDR first. Gosh, you got to try all the different things here. Nope, don't like that. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to go ahead and click apply. Now we're back in Photoshop, and let's put a layer mask on here. Now a little trick here, if you come to the layer mask, hold your Option on a Mac or an Alt on a PC down and click this, and that puts a black layer mask on there. Saves you a step right there. Now make sure you're painting with white paint and get yourself a brush. And I type B to get the brush tool. I'm at 100% opacity. Or no, I'm not. I'm at 30% opacity. Put that to 100. If you type the 0 key, it'll go right to 100. And now what I want to do is just paint. Yeah, just paint on the building. Now remember, it's a little blue, and I didn't like the little bit of blue on there. I'm going to do this pretty quick here. And it might be too light, actually, so just on the building itself. Make my brush a little smaller and paint on the chimney here. Okay, right there. If you Option or Alt click your layer mask, you can see the layer mask. Yeah, I missed a couple little spots in here. Let's go ahead and make my brush a little bigger and paint over these spots like that. Hey, it doesn't have to look perfect. It gets the job done, believe me. Option or Alt click the layer mask again, and there we go. So let's see. Here's the before, and here's the after. Before and after. Okay, so what I want to do is, I'm going to ease off on this a little bit. Maybe just a little bit, because a lot of times I go too much. Let's take it down to like a 90. Now here's a little tip here, and this is a trick. Come down to the layer masks here, or adjustment layers I should say, and get a hue saturation. I couldn't remember what I wanted to do. There we go, hue saturation. And we want to clip it to just the Topaz Adjust AI layer. So what I'm going to do is click this little clip icon right here. And I have my selection tool here. See the little eyedropper? I'm going to click on this blue color right in here. Click and drag it to the left. And it'll just take some of that blue away. It's only targeting the blue tones. You can see it right here. It's targeting the blue tones. And so maybe I'll just take a little bit of that off. I don't want that to go too blue. Let's see a before and after. So hue saturation layer, click on the eyeball. There's the before. Just look at the building. It's a little on the blue side. There's after. Still a little bit of blue in there, but it's eased off, and I like that. I always tell you to take some time and study your image, and I'm doing that, and it still looks a little blue to me, so everything's in place here. Hue saturation clip to the Topaz Adjust AI layer. I'm just going to ease that saturation back a little bit more in the blues. Okay, I don't want to go too crazy, but I just think I want a little bit more. Yeah, now I'm happy. So again, here's a before and here's a after. Yeah, that looks better. I think that does. Maybe I will give it a little extra blue, just a little. Okay, before and after. Now I'm happy. Let's see where we've come from. We're basically done with this image. I'm going to hold the Option or Alt key down on the background layer here. We've come from here and went to here. I'm really happy with this. But I think a nice finishing touch would be to add a digital frame to this. Now, hear me out on this digital frame. What I would do, I would save this image out with all the layers intact. And because I'm going to add a digital frame, because if I wanted to print this out, obviously I don't want to print it with a digital frame. I may want to use a digital frame to put it on social media or something like that. Okay, so I would save it out with all the layers intact, and then if I wanted to make a print, I would shut that digital frame off and, export it as a JPEG or a TIFF or whatever I wanted for a print. Okay, so I'm going to pull all these layers together. On a Mac, it's Shift, Option, Command, E. It just stamps all these layers up to a new layer right here. And I'm going to call this layer Digital Frame. I'll put the shortcuts on for Windows machines. Digital Frame, and we're going to send this back into Topaz Studio 2. And here I am in Topaz Studio 2, coming up to Add Filter and clicking on Digital Frame. I'm just going to use this first frame here. This is not a tutorial on the digital frame, but I'm just going to take this first digital frame. I'm going to come down and grab the detail. See the detail around the edges here? I'm going to pull this detail back and see how it just softens up and eases up. That's all I'm going to do there. And I'm not sure I like the blue, so I'm going to take the frame saturation off. And that silver looks kind of nice. But if I wanted to change the color, I could come to extra color strength and pull this up. And I could make it any color I want. And I'm thinking maybe like a warmer tone. Maybe somewhere right around in there. Okay. And if I wanted it darker, I could go to frame brightness and just, darken it up a little bit. Maybe something like that. And I'll just click accept. The digital frame is really cool when you want to put your image on a social media site or whatever. It gives it a nice finished look. Well, there it is. A nice painterly image of this building here, combining 3 different effects inside of Topaz Studio 2. The abstraction filter, which simplifies the image. The smudge filter, which kind of smudges it up. It's a really cool filter. And then we added the impression filter to the background. And the grasses a little bit of it in the grass. It's not a full amount. But there it is. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. If you did, please give it a like and share it with your friends. If you're not yet a subscriber of my channel, please subscribe and click that bell notification. And then every time I upload a new tutorial, you'll be notified about it. Well, I want to thank each and every one of you for joining me today in the Joy of Editing with Dave Kelly. I'll see you all right here next time. But until then, happy editing.